Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damian Keyes here. So last week I made a video which was called How Your Band Can Play in Front of 10,000 people. And I had loads of comments and loads of conversation about the video, and I want to make a part 2. So in the video I talked about the strategy of getting from a 50 capacity venue to a 10,000 capacity venue, with the crux of it being around that 150 to 500 people coming to your show. That's the tough bit. From there you can start to roll it on, but that hard part is going past friends and family, starting to bring an audience and actually grow. Because if you think about it, if you can bring 50 of your mates along, that's great. But when you get to 150, you can't bring 150 of your mates. So therefore, you're starting to bring audience, you're starting to bring fans of your band. If you can do that, then you can then amplify it and start to expand the numbers. But I had a lot of questions about this, and so I wanted to make a next part of the video. And so here's the thing that I'm thinking, okay? Too many of you are worrying about how you get people to your show because you want to get people to your show. I totally understand that, but I think it's the wrong question. I think the question you should be asking yourself is, how do we get good enough to actually bring these people to our show? So we're not focusing on just telling the audience and saying, come to our show, come to our show, come to our show. We're taking the focus off that and we're focusing on the show. How do we make this show so good that those people want to come to our show? Because it's the same thing with anything in life. You know these products are there, but are you buying into them? And so their job as a brand and your job as a band with a gig is to make something so good that people are scared to miss it because they're desperate to come and see you play live. So let's start off with this question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Is your live show good enough? And I'm gonna throw it out there. You're not gonna like this. I'm gonna say at the moment, it probably isn't. If you are not getting 300 to 500 people coming to your show, especially in a local area, then it's not good enough. Now, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying it's not good enough. And we need to look at how we can improve it. Every single day and every single week, we should be looking at refining the live show to make it better and better and better until it's so good, everybody wants to be a part of it. So, every detail counts, and there's some of this stuff in the other video, but things like, how are you starting the show? How are you ending the show? What are you saying when you're in between songs? Are the songs linked together? Are the tempos working? Is there a flow? Are you taking people on a journey through your set? How long are you playing for? What are you wearing live? How does it sound, and is it tight enough? Every single detail that we're going to get better and better until you become the best live act in your city or in your town. And from there, we can start to grow it. Now, at that point, that's when we start to look at what everyone's focusing on, which is, does everybody know that your band is that good? But that's B, that's part B. Does everyone know? And what you can't do is just say, come to our show. Because what happens then is people go, yeah, I might do. But they're not saying, come to our show because look what we do. And it's at that point that your job is to show people how good you are. People who haven't seen you live, they won't take your word for it. Come and see us live. Honestly, we're really, really good. That doesn't fly. But come and see our show. Here is a sneak preview, and people see it and go, bloody hell, that's amazing. Yes, I'd like to see that live. That is different. So you've got two aspects to this. Number one, is it good enough? I would say it can always get better. Number two, how are you actually telling people how good this is so that they are desperate to come and see you play live? So what to do next? What I want you to do next is I want you to start looking at what it is that you are doing each week. How many gigs that you're doing over a month, how many rehearsals you're doing per month, and what plans you are putting in place to make the show better. Forget telling people about it at the moment. Let's just concentrate on making the show fantastic. Now, every single time I would play a gig, in my head, I'll be looking at the audience. Did that song work after this song? Do we need a better opening track? Do we need a better closing track? Does that tempo really, really work? And do those tempos match together? I'd be looking at the other bandmates thinking, I think you could look a bit better, or I think you could do some more things on stage, or could I front this a little bit better? And I'd be making notes. And then in the next rehearsal, I'd actually have a live rehearsal for a gig. So I wouldn't just be getting together and rehearsing songs to make them tighter, I'd be making the show better. So I'd be going into rehearsal saying, this is a show rehearsal. From the moment we start to the moment we finish, this is about how the show is going to be. I'd be looking at the set list, I'd be looking at the tempos, I'd be looking at anything that we could do to make the show a little bit better. Just that 1% every single time, 1%, all of the time. And then when you go and do it again, you practice it, you go and do a gig and you start looking around. You start seeing what's working, you start to feel what's working, and you get better. Is it tight enough? Are you using a click track when you're rehearsing? Should you be? And the answer is probably yes, in order to get tighter. You don't need to use it for the show, but it will get you tighter. All of these things that you can do to improve, are you doing them? So that's what's next. What's next is to actually make a list of how much you're getting together and what you can do to make your show better. Then B will be how you're telling people about it, and it's the power of video. So lastly, coming on to the second part of telling people how good your show is, nothing works better than just actually showing people what's so good about it. If you are amazing live, nothing works better than taking a video of your live show and saying, look, this is how good we are, we'll put our money where our mouth is, this is it. If you can do that, that is much more likely to actually get people to buy into what you do. So grab your guitars and actually perform and actually show people on video rather than trying to get people to use their imagination, because we live in a world now where we don't need to do that. People don't need to use their imagination. They need to see it. They need to feel it. They need to buy into it. That bit is a lot simpler than a lot of you guys are actually making out, because you're demanding people are coming to the show. You're trying to give people reasons to come to the show, which is we're going to play a new song or because we're going to give out free drinks. That's all great. That does work. But why not just say, look how awesome we are. This is what we do. And have people say, wow, that is really good. I want to be a part of that. So that's it. Stop focusing on telling the audience how good you are and start focusing on how good your live show is first. Secondly, start showing off how good your live show is and see this as a long-term gig. This is not just something you're going to do over a week or 2 weeks. This is something you can do over a year or 2 years or 3 years and get the gigs in so that you can really experiment, because that's the name of the game. So thanks for watching. If you can like, subscribe, comment below, that would be amazing. Also, don't forget my book, The Rule Breaker's Guide to Social Media, is out on the 21st of June, which will be on Kindle. It will also be hard copy, which you can buy from Amazon, and I'll even be doing some talking on the old audio book myself. So anything you need, give me a shout. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow.